I never thought my wedding day would end with a Korean stranger storming the altar, pressing a gun to my groom's head, and saying in that dangerously calm voice, "This marriage is over. She's mine." But I knew exactly who he was. The man I'd left behind in Seoul without a goodbye. The man who'd just proven he'd burned our entire world to get me back. And the worst part? When he looked at me with those dark, possessive eyes and said, "Come with me, Mia," I didn't scream for help. I took his hand.
Stick around till the end. This story will leave you speechless. Hit like if you're ready for the drama. The ballroom of Lagos's prestigious Oriental Hotel blazed with golden light. 300 guests in vibrant asoebi filling every corner with laughter, music, and the scent of expensive perfume mingling with small chops. Nia Okonkwo stood before the floor-length mirror in the bridal suite. Her reflection a stranger draped in ivory lace and coral beads that weighed heavy as guilt against her collarbone. "Nia, you look like a queen o," her cousin Adiz squealed, adjusting the geli that sat perfectly sculptured on Nia's head. "Kunal is so lucky." Lucky. The word sat bitter on Nia's tongue. Kunal, her fiancé of 8 months, senior banker at First Bank, owner of a tasteful 3-bedroom in Lekki, and serial cheater who thought she didn't know about the girl in his office. The one he'd been messaging at 2 a.m. while Nia worked late finishing designs for her boutique, Nia Originals. She should call it off. Walk out right now, wedding dress and all, consequences be damned. But at 29, after clawing her way through NYSC in some forgotten village in Benue State, after building her fashion business from a single sewing machine in her parents' boys' quarters to a boutique in Ikeja with 12 employees, after all that struggle, Kunal was supposed to be the reward, the stable choice, the man her mother could brag about at Owambi parties. 5 minutes, Nia, someone called from a doorway. Her phone buzzed on the vanity. Unknown number. International code +82. South Korea. Nia's heart slammed against her ribs. Her fingers trembled as she unlocked the screen. "Beautiful dress. White doesn't suit you though. I prefer that yellow thing you wore in Hongdae. K." The phone nearly slipped from her hands. Kang Min-jae. It couldn't be. He was 7,000 miles away in Seoul, running whatever dark empire he'd built, probably surrounded by Korean women who understood his world. Not stalking her Instagram. Not commenting on her wedding dress. Not here. "Nia, you're shaking. Are you okay?" Adiz touched her shoulder, concerned. "Fine. Just nervous." Nia deleted the message with shaking fingers. It was nothing. A ghost from 15 months ago when she traveled to Seoul on that small business grant to source fabrics, met a devastatingly beautiful man at a Gangnam club, and spent 3 days learning that heaven could taste like soju and danger. Then she'd left, changed hotels, blocked his number, fled back to Lagos before whatever madness possessed her could make her stay. She'd made the right choice. Min-jae was a fantasy. All sharp suits and sharper edges, speaking in Korean and violence, living in a world Nia wanted no part of. Kunal was real. Safe. Boring as overcooked rice, but safe. The wedding march began downstairs. "Let's go." Adiz pulled her toward the door, and Nia let herself be led, because turning back now would break her mother's heart and validate every person who'd said she was too ambitious, too independent, too much. The ceremony passed in a blur. Her father's proud smile as he walked her down the aisle. Kunal in his pristine ibada, looking like the perfect groom for Instagram. The pastor's voice droning through traditional vows, while Nia's mind screamed at her to run. "If anyone here objects to this union," the pastor announced, "speak now or forever hold your peace." Silence. Nia exhaled. Then the ballroom doors exploded inward. Not metaphorically. The ornate wooden doors slammed open with a crack that made guests scream, and Nia's world tilted sideways. Kang Min-jae stood in the entrance like vengeance in Tom Ford. 6 feet of lean muscle wrapped in black suit, black shirt, black everything except the silver glint of the gun he pulled from his jacket with terrifying casualness. His hair was longer than she remembered, falling across eyes that found her across the crowded room and burned. For men flanked him, broad-shouldered, blank-faced, clearly armed. The guests nearest the door scrambled backward, women shrieking, men shouting for security. Min-jae ignored them all. He walked down the aisle with the confidence of a man who'd bought and sold countries. His gaze locked on Nia's frozen face. "No," she whispered. "This wasn't happening. This was a nightmare, a fever dream. Nia." Her name in his mouth, accented and possessive, made every nerve-ending spark. He stopped 3 feet away, and she saw the sleepless shadows under his eyes, the tension in his jaw, the absolute certainty in his expression. Who are you?" Connell spluttered, puffing his chest like that would matter against a man who moved like death. "Security. Someone." Min-jae didn't even look at him. He pressed the gun against Connell's temple with the same energy someone might use to swat a fly. "Sit down before I remove you permanently." Connell sat, so fast he nearly fell. The pastor made a strangled sound. Nia's mother screamed. Her father started forward, but stopped when one of Min-jae's men shifted, revealing his own weapon. Min-jae turned to Nia, and his expression softened into something that looked almost tender. "Hello, Jae-jae." She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The entire ballroom had gone silent, phones out, recording this disaster for social media posterity. "What are you doing?" Nia managed, her voice barely above a whisper. "Stopping a mistake." Min-jae gestured to one of his men, who produced a manila folder and handed it to Nia's father. "Mr. Okonkwo, you should know that your future son-in-law has embezzled 45 million Nigerian nairas from his bank. He also owes 500 million Korean wons to certain organizations in Seoul. Organizations that I control." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Connell went gray. That's a lie." Connell's voice cracked. "Sir, this man is insane. I don't even know." "You gambled away in Macau 6 months ago," Min-jae continued, his tone bored. "When you couldn't pay, you offered collateral. Your fiancé." His eyes went cold. "You were going to sell Nia to cover your debt." The folder fell from her father's hands, papers scattering. Nia saw bank statements, photographs of Connell at casinos, contracts with amounts that made her dizzy. "Connell." Her father's voice shook with rage. "You were going to use my daughter." "It's not what it looks like." Connell scrambled backward, sweating through his expensive igbata. "I was going to pay it back. I just needed more time." But Min-jae had already dismissed him, turning back to Nia with infinite patience. "You have 10 seconds to decide, Jae-jae. Come with me willingly, or I carry you out, and we do this the hard way. Either option ends with you in Seoul." Nia stared at him, this impossible man who'd just blown up her wedding like a scene from a movie. Part of her wanted to slap him. The rational part screamed to call the police, to run, to do anything except what her body was already doing. "You can't just kidnap me for my own wedding. Watch me." He extended his hand, palm up, waiting. "You walked away once. I let you because I thought you'd come back. You didn't. So now I'm done waiting. This is insane." "Yes." His smile was sharp as glass. "But you're going to say yes anyway. Because that dress feels like a cage. That man was going to sell you like property. And we both know you felt more alive in 3 days with me than you have in 15 months pretending you didn't." The words hit like bullets, all the more devastating for being true. Nia looked at Connell, sweating and guilty. At her mother, scandalized and weeping. At the life she'd built that suddenly felt like borrowed clothes, ill-fitting and wrong. Then she looked at Min-jae, at the man who'd crossed continents to claim her, and made the most reckless choice of her life. She placed her hand in his. His fingers closed around hers like a lock clicking shut, warm and absolutely certain. Something fierce flashed in his eyes. "Smart girl," he murmured, and pulled her against his side. The ballroom erupted. Her father roared, lunging forward. Her mother fainted dramatically into Adi's arms. Guests shouted, some cheering, most horrified. Min-jae's men formed a barrier, polite but immovable. "Wait, my daughter. You can't just take my daughter." Her father's voice cracked. Min-jae paused, looking back. When he spoke, his voice carried absolute authority. "I'll send a proper bride price. 50 million Nigerian nairas, transferred within the hour. Consider it compensation for the inconvenience." Then he swept Nia toward the exit, his men closing ranks behind them. She stumbled in her wedding dress, the train catching on chairs, and Min-jae simply scooped her up, lace, beads, and all, carrying her like she weighed nothing. "Put me down," Nia hissed, acutely aware of every phone recording this. No. Outside, a convoy of black SUVs waited, engines running. Min-jae deposited her in the back of the lead vehicle and slid in beside her, his men piling into the other cars. The convoy pulled away before security even reached the parking lot. Nia sat in stunned silence, her $1,000 wedding dress pooling around her, while Lagos blurred past the tinted windows. "You," she finally said, her voice shaking with fury and something else she refused to name, "are absolutely insane." Min-jae settled back, looking utterly relaxed. "Probably. I could have you arrested." "You could." He pulled out his phone, unlocked it, and offered it to her. "My lawyer's contact is saved. Call him. File charges. I'll be out in 3 hours and back at your door in 4. Nia stared at the phone in her hand, then at the man who just derailed her entire existence. She should call the police, should demand he turn around, face the consequences of crashing a wedding at gunpoint. Instead, she threw the phone at his chest. "I hate you." Min-jae caught it one-handed, his smile slow and dangerous. "Liar." The SUV turned onto the expressway, heading toward Murtala Muhammad Airport, toward whatever madness waited in Seoul. And Nia, God help her, didn't tell the driver to stop. But Min-jae hadn't told her everything, like why Kunnel's debt was just the beginning, or who else was watching them right now. The private jet was obscene, all cream leather and polished wood, with a bedroom visible through a door at the rear that Nia absolutely refused to acknowledge. Min-jae had disappeared forward to make calls in rapid Korean, leaving her alone with her racing thoughts and this ridiculous wedding dress. She'd just been kidnapped from her own wedding by a man she'd slept with exactly 3 times 15 months ago, before fleeing Seoul like her life depended on it, who apparently had enough money and power to make her groom's betrayal and her family's fury disappear with a few wire transfers. Nia laughed, slightly hysterical. Her mother was probably being revived with smelling salts. The guests were definitely uploading videos. By tomorrow, she'd be Nigeria's most viral bride for all the wrong reasons. "You find something amusing?" She jumped. Min-jae had returned, carrying 2 glasses of amber liquid. He'd shed his jacket, his black shirt rolled to the elbows, revealing forearms marked with ink, Korean characters and geometric patterns she hadn't had time to study during their Seoul encounter. "I find everything about this situation insane," Nia said flatly. Korean stranger kidnaps bride at gunpoint. Very romantic. Korean billionaire saves designer from debt trap. Min-jae set a glass beside her. Better headline. "You're on every gossip blog by now." "I don't care about blogs." He settled across from her, sprawling like a cat. "I care that you were about to marry a man who saw you as currency." The blunt words stung because they were true. Nia grabbed the glass, whiskey, expensive and smooth, and drank. "How convenient that you discovered this right before my wedding." "I've known for 6 months. Min-jae's expression hardened. Kunnel gambled away money he didn't have in one of my Macau casinos. When he couldn't pay, he begged for extensions. My people investigated his collateral. His jaw tightened. Imagine my surprise when they showed me photos of you, wearing his ring. I slid down Nia's spine. "You've been watching me for 6 months? 15 months, Min-jae corrected without shame. "Since the morning you disappeared from my apartment in Seoul, without even a note. Do you know how rare it is for someone to walk away from me, Nia?" "How?" He stopped, something raw flickering across his features. "I turned Seoul upside down looking for you. Then I found you back in Lagos, building your empire, and I thought, fine, let her have her life. I'll move on. But you didn't." "I tried." His smile was bitter. "Then Kunnel showed up in my casino, losing money he didn't have, and mentioned he was marrying a fashion designer named Nia Okonkwo who'd sourced fabrics in Seoul the year before. Small world, right?" Nia's hands trembled. "So you planned this. The wedding crash, I planned to pay his debt, make him disappear quietly, send you an anonymous warning." Min-jae leaned forward, his eyes burning. Then I saw your Instagram. All those photos. Engagement party, bridal shower, dress fittings. You looked beautiful. And absolutely miserable. She flinched because he was right. Every smile in those photos had been forced, performative. I couldn't. Min-jae's voice roughened. I couldn't let you marry him while looking like that. Like you were attending your own funeral. So you decided to kidnap me instead? I decided to give you a choice. He stood, moving to the window, where Seoul awaited below clouds and distance. Come with me, see if what we had was real. Or go back, marry your safe banker, live your comfortable lie. You held a gun to his head. I wasn't going to shoot him. Min-jae turned back, and his expression was absolutely serious. Much. Despite everything, Nia laughed. It burst out of her, half hysterical, and Min-jae's mouth curved in response. This is insane, she said again, weaker this time. Completely. I should hate you. You probably should. I don't even know you. 3 days, 15 months ago, doesn't. Then know me now. Min-jae crossed back to her, dropping to his knees so they were eye level. The position should have been submissive, but somehow he made it dominant, his hands bracing on either side of her seat. Stay with me in Seoul. 2 weeks. Let me prove I'm worth the chaos. His face was inches away, close enough that she could see gold flecks in his dark eyes, smell his cologne, cedar and danger. Close enough to kiss. And if I say no, Nia whispered, then I'll fly you back to Lagos right now. I'll pay your family's bride price as an apology, make Kunnel disappear from your life permanently, and never contact you again. The words sounded like they cost him everything. Your choice, Jae-jae. Always your choice. Nia studied him, this impossible, infuriating man who'd crashed her wedding because he couldn't let her go. She should demand he turn the plane around. Should call her father, face the consequences. But when had playing it safe ever made her happy? 2 weeks, she heard herself say. Then I'm going home, and you're letting me go. Forever. Min-jae's smile was slow and devastating. 2 weeks. He offered his hand. Nia shook it, and when he pressed his lips to her knuckles, the kiss burned like a brand. Now get me out of this dress before I suffocate, she demanded, trying to recover some dignity. Heat flared in his eyes. Careful, Jae-jae. I'm trying to be a gentleman. Since when? Since I realized you'd run again if I pushed too fast. He stood, gesturing toward the bedroom. There are clothes in the closet. Your size. I'll be out here. Definitely not thinking about undressing you. Nia fled before her traitorous body could betray her further. Seoul hit her like a fever dream when they landed, all glass and neon. Ancient palaces shadowed by chrome skyscrapers. The October air crisp with kimchi and coffee and possibilities. Min-jae's penthouse occupied the top 3 floors of a Gangnam building. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealing the city sprawling below like a circuit board. Home, Min-jae announced, setting down her hastily packed luggage. His people had raided her Lagos apartment while she was in flight. She was trying not to think about that. Home. Her gilded cage looked like an architectural magazine. Guest suite is there. He pointed down a hallway. Masters through there. Kitchen stocked. I had someone prepare Nigerian dishes. Jollof, egusi, moi, plantain. Probably not as good as your mother's. You had someone cook Nigerian food? Nia interrupted, surprised. He shrugged, almost shy. You mentioned missing it. That night in Hongdae, you said homesickness hit worst at dinner. Something cracked in her chest. She'd mentioned that once, drowsy and naked against hotel sheets. Not thinking he'd remember. Not thinking he'd care enough to remember. Thank you, she said quietly. Min-jae nodded, then seemed to realize they were standing too close, breathing each other's air. He stepped back. I have business. Meetings. Make yourself comfortable. The place is yours. I'm not a prisoner. You're my guest. His mouth quirked. Though if you try to leave Seoul without telling me, I'll know within 10 minutes and follow you. Fair warning. Stalker. Protective. He grabbed his jacket, then paused at the door. Nia? I meant it. 2 weeks. Then, it's your choice. I won't force you to stay. He left before she could respond. the door clicking shut with expensive silence. Nia stood in the massive penthouse, still wearing the jeans and Ankara top she changed into on the jet, and tried to process the last 16 hours. Yesterday, she'd been a bride in Lagos. Today she was in Seoul, living with a man who'd kidnapped her from the altar. Her phone buzzed, 42 missed calls from her mother, 19 from her father, 87 unread WhatsApp messages. She powered it off. She'd deal with Lagos later. Right now, she needed to understand what game Min-jae was playing, and why she wanted to play along. The first 3 days passed in surreal suspension. Min-jae disappeared for hours. Meetings, he said, business that couldn't wait. Nia explored Seoul like a ghost, revisiting fabric markets in Dongdaemun, sketching in Insadong cafes, trying not to remember the last time she'd walked these streets. But Min-jae kept appearing in small ways. Fresh flowers in her room every morning. Yellow roses, the color she'd worn when they met. Nigerian snacks in the kitchen, chin-chin, plantain chips, even bottles of super malt. Notes in sharp handwriting. Eat. You work too much. MJ. On the fourth day, she found a fully equipped design studio in one of the spare rooms. Industrial sewing machines, fabric bolts in the exact prints she'd been sourcing 15 months ago. A cutting table, dress forms, everything. Nia stood in the doorway, her throat tight. This wasn't kidnapping. This was seduction by a man who'd memorized her dreams. Dangerous. This was so dangerous. Do you like it? She spun. Min-jae leaned in the doorframe, still in work clothes, black slacks, white shirt, loosened tie. He looked exhausted and beautiful, shadows under his eyes making him mortal. When did you have time for this? Nia demanded. I don't sleep much. He stepped inside, hands in pockets. Spent the last few days making sure certain people understand you're under my protection, and setting up your work visa, and arranging for your boutique inventory to be managed remotely so you don't lose clients. Nia's head spun. You what? Your assistant Chinyer is handling Lagos operations. I've compensated her well. Min-jae's expression was carefully neutral. I know your work matters. I'm not asking you to give it up for me. Just uproot my entire life instead. For 2 weeks. He held her gaze. Then you decide where you belong. She should yell. Should tell him this was too much, too controlling, too everything. Instead, why me? Min-jae was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was raw. Do you know what my life is? Threats, contracts, people who smile while planning to destroy me. I trust no one. Need no one. He stopped, jaw tightening. Then you, some Nigerian woman in a yellow dress who didn't know who I was, didn't want my money, just wanted me for one night. You made me feel human. You're not a monster, Min-jae. I've killed people. The confession hung between them, brutal and honest. Not lately, not for years, but in the beginning when my father was murdered and I had to take over at 23, I did things. Terrible things. To survive. To build this empire on ruins and blood. Nia should run. Every instinct screamed it. Instead, she moved closer. And now I run a legitimate business with complicated roots. Tech investments, real estate, clean money. His smile was bitter. But Seoul doesn't forget. I'm still the Kang family's heir, and that comes with shadows. So you're a reformed gangster who crashes weddings? I'm a man who spent 15 months trying to forget you and failed spectacularly. Min-jae closed the distance between them, stopping just before touching. I'm not asking you to fix me, Nia. I'm asking for a chance to prove I can deserve you. The words hung heavy and fragile. Nia's pulse thundered in her ears. Then she grabbed his tie and pulled him down. Min-jae made a surprised sound before his mouth found hers, and then everything ignited. He kissed like he did everything else. Intense, focused, absolutely overwhelming. His hands found her waist, pulling her flush against him while she mapped the muscles of his back through his shirt. Nia, he broke away, breathing hard. If we do this, I need to know it means something. That you're not just. Shut up, she breathed and kissed him again. They barely made it to the bedroom. Tell me something true. So Nia did. She told him about NYSC in Bainway, teaching in a school with no electricity, coming back to Lagos with nothing and building her boutique customer by customer. About her fear that she'd never be enough, not Nigerian enough for her family, not successful enough for herself. Min-jae listened, his fingers gentle, and shared in return. His mother's death when he was 12. The uncle who tried to kill him for inheritance at 16. The loneliness of power. I don't let people in, he admitted as Seoul's lights glittered beyond the windows. But you were already inside before I knew to stop you. Nia kissed his jaw, tasting salt and skin. 2 weeks, Min-jae. 2 weeks, he agreed. But both knew it was already a lie. But Seoul's underworld didn't care about their 2-week deal, and someone was already planning to use Nia against him. The second week transformed everything. Min-jae took her to his corporate offices, gleaming towers of glass, where he ruled an empire of tech investments and real estate. Introduced her to his second-in-command, a sharp woman named Park Ji-woo, who assessed Nia with frank approval. You're the one he crashed a wedding for, Ji-woo said in perfect English. Guilty. Good. He's been insufferable for months. Maybe you'll fix him. Nia laughed despite herself. I'm not a miracle worker. No, Ji-woo agreed, but you're the first person he's brought to the office in 7 years. That's miracle enough. At night, Min-jae taught her Korean curses while making ramen. She introduced him to Afrobeats, watching his attempts not to smile when Wizkid made his hips move. They fought about small things. He was controlling, she was stubborn, and reconciled in ways that left the penthouse walls sweating. It was perfect. Too perfect. Nia waited for the crash. It came on day 12. She was sketching in her studio when shouting erupted from the living room. Korean, vicious, and rapid. Nia crept to the doorway and found Min-jae on the phone, his face a mask of cold fury. Don't care what Choi wants. Tell him if he touches her, I'll bury his entire bloodline. He saw her. The mask cracked. I'll call back. He hung up, shoulders rigid. Nia. Who's Choi? Min-jae's silence was answer enough. Min-jae. Who is he? A rival. Someone from before. He scrubbed his face. He knows about you. About us. He's threatening. He stopped, jaw clenching. Ice flooded Nia's veins. Threatening what? To use you as leverage. Force me to choose between you and everything I've built. Min-jae crossed to her, gripping her shoulders. He won't touch you. I swear, Nia, I'll kill him myself before. This is your life. Reality crashed down like cold water. This is what dating you means. Being a target. Being leverage. I can protect you. Like you protected your father? Your mother? Nia stepped back, chest tight. You said it yourself. You trust no one. How long before I'm just another piece you're moving around your chessboard? You're not a piece, you're everything. Min-jae reached for her, desperation cracking his control. Nia, please just let me. I need air. She fled to the guest room, locked the door, and tried to remember how to breathe. Outside, Min-jae stood frozen. Then he pulled out his phone, voice lethal. Ji-woo. Triple security. No one gets within a mile of her. Sir, if we escalate with Choi. I don't care. She's the priority. Everything else can burn. He ended the call and pressed his forehead to Nia's door, voice too quiet for her to hear. Don't run again. Not when I finally found you. Nia didn't sleep. She lay staring at the ceiling, trying to untangle the mess. In 12 days, Min-jae had proven he was obsessive, protective, dangerous, and possibly the most attentive man she'd ever met. He listened, remembered, made space for her work, her culture, her independence. He also had enemies who'd kill her to hurt him. At 3 a.m., her door opened. She sat up, heart hammering, then relaxed when Min-jae's silhouette appeared. I'm not here to convince you, he said quietly, staying in the doorway. I just needed to see you. Make sure you're real. I'm real. Are you safe? Despite everything, Nia smiled. You have about 20 guards and 50 cameras. I'm probably the safest person in Seoul. Min-jae's laugh was broken. Not safe enough. He sat on the edge of her bed, careful not to touch. I've been doing this for 7 years. Building walls, eliminating threats, controlling every variable. Then you walked into my club and destroyed every defense I had. Min-jae, I'm not asking you to stay. He looked at her, and the raw honesty there stole her breath. I know what I'm offering. A life of looking over your shoulder, of being targeted because of me. That's not fair. That's not love. Then what is it? Selfishness. His smile was bitter. I want you so badly, I'd risk your safety for it. I'm a bastard, Nia. You should go back to Lagos. Find someone safe. Live the life you deserve. Nia's heart cracked. She'd spent 12 days waiting for him to prove he was the villain, the kidnapper, the gangster, the man who took what he wanted. Instead, he sat here at 3 a.m., offering her freedom even though it was killing him. You're an idiot, she whispered. Min-jae blinked. What? A dramatic, self-sacrificing idiot. Nia sat up, grabbing his shirt. Did it occur to you that maybe I don't want safe? That maybe I'm tired of being the responsible daughter, the perfect businesswoman, the bride who smiles for cameras? Nia, you crashed my wedding. With a gun. In front of my entire family. She was laughing now, slightly hysterical. You kidnapped me to Seoul, gave me a studio, learned about my culture, held me while I cried. And now you're trying to push me away for my own good. I'm trying to be better than my worst impulses. Your worst impulse was the best thing that ever happened to me. Nia pulled him closer, their faces inches apart. I choose you, Min-jae. The chaos, the danger, all of it. Because you make me feel alive in ways I didn't know I was dead. His eyes went wide. You're choosing. I'm choosing you, she repeated firmly. Now kiss me before I change my mind. Min-jae didn't need to be told twice. He kissed her like a drowning man finding air, and when he pulled back, his eyes were suspiciously bright. I love you, he said in Korean, then English. I've loved you since you walked away in Seoul. Since you looked at me like I was worth knowing, not just fearing. I love you too, you impossible man. Nia kissed him again. Now tell me about Choi. Everything. Because if we're doing this, we're doing it together. Min-jae's expression shifted, from vulnerable to focused. Together. Together. I didn't build a business from nothing by running from fights. Her smile was fierce. And I'm definitely not losing you to some rival gangster with a grudge. Min-jae stared at her like she'd performed a miracle. Then he laughed, gathering her close. Okay. Together. He pulled out his phone. Ji-woo, wake up. We're going on offense. But neither of them knew Choi was already making his move, and Nia's family in Lagos was his first target. The call came at dawn. Min-jae's phone erupted, and Nia woke tangled in his sheets to see him answer in sharp Korean, his expression going lethal. When? How many? He was already moving, pulling on clothes. Deploy everyone. I want him found within the hour. What happened? Nia sat up, pulse racing. Min-jae's face was a mask of controlled fury. Choi sent men to Lagos. They're watching your parents' house. The world tilted. What? They haven't made a move yet, just surveillance. A message. His jaw clenched. He wants me to know he can reach you anywhere. Nia was already scrambling for clothes. We have to. I need to call them, warn them. Already done. I have security en route to your family. Min-jae caught her hands, forcing her to focus. Nia, listen. This is what I meant. This is the life. I said I'm in. That includes protecting my family. She pulled free, grabbing her phone. Her hands shook as she dialed her mother. It rang 4 times before her mother answered. Voice thick with sleep and confusion. Nia? Nia, is that you? Do you know what time it is? Do you know what you've done to this family? Mama, listen to me. Nia forced her voice steady. I need you and Daddy to pack a bag. Right now. You're going to Auntie Ngozi's place in Abuja. What? Nia, have you gone mad? First you run off with that Korean man. Now you're calling at 5 a.m. Mama, please. Nia's voice cracked. There are people watching the house. Dangerous people. I need you to trust me and go. Now. The line went silent. Then her father's voice, sharp with alarm. Nia? What's happening? Min-jae took the phone gently from her trembling hands. Mr. Okonkwo, this is Kang Min-jae. I'm sending a security team to your house within the next 20 minutes. They'll escort you and your wife to safety. I've arranged accommodation in Abuja. You. Her father's voice exploded through the speaker. You have the audacity to call my phone after kidnapping my daughter. Daddy, please. Nia grabbed the phone back. This is serious. Min-jae has enemies who want to hurt him through me. Through you. Just do what he says. Please. Another silence, heavier this time. Nia, what have you gotten yourself into? I'll explain everything. But right now, you need to move. The security team, they'll have identification. Photos Min-jae is sending to your phone now. Trust them. I'm begging you. Her father's carried 1,500 years of parental worry. Your mother and I will go. But Nia, when this is over, you have a lot of explaining to do. I know, Daddy. I love you. We love you too, Omomi. Even when you're driving us to early graves. The call ended. Nia stood frozen, phone clutched to her chest, while reality crashed down. This was real. The danger, the threats, all of it was real. Min-jae's arms came around her from behind, solid and warm. They'll be safe. I have the best people in Lagos, former military, all vetted. Choi won't touch them. This is my fault. Nia's voice broke. I brought this to them. No. Min-jae spun her around, his expression fierce. Choi brought this. And he just made his last mistake. What are you going to do? Min-jae's smile was cold enough to freeze blood. End this. Permanently. He pulled out his phone, switching to Korean. Ji-woo, activate Protocol 7. I want every asset we have finding Choi. And contact Director Kim at NIS. Tell him I'm cashing in that favor. Min-jae, Ji-woo's voice carried through the speaker uncertain. Protocol 7 means full war. I know. His eyes never left Nia's face. He threatened her family. There's no coming back from that. He ended the call and cupped Nia's face. Pack a bag. Light. We're leaving Seoul. Where are we going? Busan first. My safe house. Then, he hesitated. Then Lagos if you want. To make sure your family's protected personally. Nia's heart cracked open. This man, this supposedly cold, ruthless man, was willing to fly to Nigeria, to face her angry parents, to put himself in unfamiliar territory, just to give her peace of mind. You'd do that? Go to Lagos. Jae, I'd burn down Seoul if it meant you felt safe. Min-jae kissed her forehead. Your family hates me. They should hate me. But I need them to understand. I'm not taking you away. I'm trying to build something with you. And that includes the people you love. Nia pulled him down and kissed him hard. I love you. I love you too. He smiled against her mouth. Now pack. We have 30 minutes before my driver gets here. They made it 20 minutes before everything went sideways. Nia was zipping her bag when glass exploded in the living room. She screamed, diving for cover as gunfire erupted, sharp cracks that made her ears ring. Min-jae was on her instantly, shielding her body with his, a gun appearing in his hand from nowhere. Stay down, he shouted, returning fire toward the shattered windows. More shots. The sound of men shouting in Korean. Nia's heart hammered, so hard she thought it would break through her ribs. This was real. This was actually happening. Min-jae's phone rang. He answered without taking his eyes off the windows. Talk. Sir, we have 4 hostiles in the building. 2 more on adjacent rooftops. Ji-woo's voice was clipped, professional. Building security is compromised. Choi paid them off. Our team is 3 minutes out. We don't have 3 minutes. Min-jae scanned the room, calculating. How fast can you get a helicopter to the roof? 8 minutes. Do it. And Ji-woo? Tell our people, no survivors. Choi wanted war. He's got it. He hung up and turned to Nia, his expression fierce. Can you run? Yes. Good girl. He hauled her up, keeping her behind him. We're going to the emergency stairs. When I say move, you move. Don't stop, don't look back. Understand? Nia nodded, too terrified to speak. They made it to the hallway before 2 men in black tactical gear rounded the corner, weapons raised. Min-jae fired twice, precise, efficient. Both men dropped. Nia's stomach lurched. She'd just watched Min-jae kill 2 people without hesitation. Should she be horrified? Probably. But all she felt was grateful they weren't the ones bleeding on his expensive marble floors. Stairs. Now. Min-jae pushed her forward. They ran. Up 12 flights, Nia's lungs burning, her designer sneakers slapping against concrete. Behind them, more gunfire. Shouting. The building's alarm finally started wailing. They burst onto the roof into Seoul's dawn, the city sprawling below in indifferent beauty. Min-jae scanned the sky, gun still raised. Come on, come on. The helicopter appeared like an answer to prayer, swooping low. The door slid open, and Ji-woo leaned out, extending her hand. Get in. Min-jae practically threw Nia inside, then vaulted in behind her. The helicopter banked hard, rising fast, and through the open door Nia saw his penthouse, saw figures moving in the shattered windows, saw the life they'd been building literally shot to pieces. Your place, she started, is just a place. Min-jae pulled her close, his heart hammering against her back. You're what matters. Ji-woo handed him a tablet, her expression grim. Sir, we have a problem. Choi didn't just hit your penthouse. He hit 3 of our warehouses, 2 offices, and he's got people moving on the Busan safe house. Min-jae's jaw tightened. He's trying to flush us out. Make us vulnerable. It's working, Ji-woo said bluntly. He's got backing we didn't anticipate. Someone's funding this offensive, someone with serious resources. Who? Still tracking. But sir, Ji-woo hesitated. There's chatter that he's moving on Lagos next. Not surveillance. An actual hit on Nia's family. The world stopped. Nia felt Min-jae go rigid behind her. When? His voice was lethal calm. 12 hours. Maybe less. Min-jae was already moving, pulling out his phone. Change course. Incheon Airport. And get my jet ready for immediate departure to Lagos. Sir, that's suicide. Choi will have people at the airport. Then we go through them. Min-jae looked at Nia, and his expression was absolutely resolute. Your family. We protect them first. Everything else comes after. Nia's eyes burned. Min-jae, you can't. Seoul is your empire, your home. You're my home. He cupped her face. Empire means nothing if I lose you. And I'm not letting Choi touch the people you love. The helicopter banked toward Incheon, and Nia realized she was watching a man choose her over everything he'd built. Over power, safety, strategy, all of it. She grabbed his shirt, pulling him down. When this is over, we're getting married. Properly. With jollof and kimchi, and both our families. Min-jae's smile broke through the tension like sunrise. Is that a proposal, Jae-jae? It's a promise. She kissed him hard. You and me against the world. You and me, he agreed. But neither of them knew Choi had one final card to play, and it would change everything. The flight to Lagos took 13 hours. Min-jae spent it on the phone, speaking rapid Korean and English, mobilizing every resource he had. Nia tried to sleep, but kept seeing the gunfight, kept hearing the sound of glass exploding. Hey. Min-jae slid into the seat beside her, looking exhausted. We land in 2 hours. My people in Lagos report your family is secure in Abuja. Choi's men are still watching the empty house in Lagos. So we have time. A little. He took her hand, threading their fingers together. Nia, when we land, there's a good chance this gets messy. Choi has people everywhere, and Lagos isn't my territory. I need you to promise me something. What? If I tell you to run, you run. You don't argue, you don't wait for me. You take Ji-woo, and you get somewhere safe. Absolutely not. Nia. His grip tightened. I can face Choi. I can face losing Seoul. I can face anything. But I can't face losing you. Promise me. She wanted to argue. Wanted to tell him they were in this together. But the fear in his eyes, raw and real, stopped her. I promise, she lied. Min-jae studied her face, then smiled sadly. You're lying. But I love you anyway. I love you too, you impossible man. They landed in Lagos at 11 p.m. Humidity hitting like a wall after Seoul's autumn cool. Min-jae had 12 men with him, serious, professional, armed. They moved through Murtala Muhammad Airport like shadows. And Nia realized this was Min-jae in his element. Dangerous. Controlled. Absolutely lethal. 3 vehicles waiting. Ji-woo reported. Security sweep shows no immediate threats, but, she paused, touching her earpiece. Sir, we have a situation. Talk. Choi's people just grabbed someone. Female, mid-20s. Works at Nia Originals boutique. They're holding her at a warehouse in Apapa. Nia's blood turned to ice. Chinyur. They took Chinyur. Min-jae's expression went cold. Where exactly? Ji-woo rattled off coordinates. Min-jae was already moving, pulling Nia toward the exits. This is a trap, Ji-woo warned. He wants you to come. Then I'll come. Min-jae's voice carried absolute certainty. He took someone under Nia's protection. That makes it personal. They piled into the vehicles, sleek black SUVs that screamed money and danger. Nia sat beside Min-jae, her mind racing. Chinyur, her assistant, her friend, the woman who'd helped build Nia Originals from nothing. I'm coming with you, Nia said. Absolutely not. She's my employee, my friend. This happened because of me. Nia met his eyes. I'm coming. Min-jae looked like he wanted to argue. Then he sighed, pulling her close. Stay behind me. Do exactly what I say. And if shooting starts, I run. I know. Another lie. But he didn't need to know that. The warehouse in Apapa was exactly as sinister as it sounded. Rusted metal, broken windows. The kind of place people disappeared in Lagos, without questions. Min-jae's team surrounded it silently, weapons ready. For hostiles inside, one of his men reported. The girls tied up, center of the space. It's definitely a trap. Of course it is. Min-jae checked his gun. The casual way he handled it made Nia's stomach flip. Which is why I'm going in alone. Sir. Alone. If it's a trap, Choi wants me. Fine. He can have me. But everyone else stays here. And if I'm not out in 10 minutes, he looked at Ji-woo. You get Nia somewhere safe and burn this place to the ground. Min-jae, no. Nia grabbed his arm. He kissed her. Hard and desperate and goodbye. I love you. Remember that. Then he was gone, walking toward the warehouse entrance like he had all the time in the world. Nia watched him disappear inside, her heart in her throat. Around her, Min-jae's men waited, tense and ready. 30 seconds. 1 minute. 2. Then gunfire erupted, a staccato rhythm that made everyone flinch. Ji-woo grabbed Nia's arm. We need to go. No. Nia pulled free. I'm not leaving him. Nia, he made me promise. But Nia was already running, toward the warehouse, toward the gunfire, toward the man she loved who was apparently determined to die heroically. She burst through the entrance and froze. Min-jae stood in the center of the space, gun trained on a man Nia didn't recognize. Korean, expensive suit, cold smile. Choi. Around them, for bodies, lay still. Chinyur was tied to a chair, crying, but alive. Nia, get out. Min-jae didn't take his eyes off Choi. Now. How touching. Choi said in accented English. The great Kang Min-jae, brought low by a Nigerian woman. I have to admit, I didn't see that coming. Let her go, Min-jae said quietly. This is between us. Is it? Choi's smile widened. See, I thought it was between me and your father. Until you killed him and took everything that should have been mine. Nia's mind raced. Choi and Min-jae's father? Your father worked for mine, Min-jae said, his voice hard. He betrayed that trust. So my father handled it. That's not my sin. No. Your sin is thriving while I've spent 7 years fighting for scraps. Choi gestured around the warehouse. But now I take everything from you. Your empire, your woman, your life. Starting with. He moved fast, pulling a gun from his jacket and aiming at Chinyur. Everything happened at once. Min-jae fired. Choi fired. Nia screamed and dove toward Chinyur, knocking the chair sideways as the bullet meant for her assistant's head buried itself in the wall. More gunfire. Min-jae's team poured in, And suddenly the warehouse was chaos, bullets and shouting, and the smell of gunpowder. When the smoke cleared, Choi lay dead. Min-jae stood over him, gun still raised, breathing hard. Clear. Ji-woo shouted. Min-jae turned, saw Nia on the floor beside Chin-yeol, and went white. Nia, did he hit you? I'm fine. She was already cutting Chin-yeol free, with a knife someone handed her. We're both fine. Chin-yeol sobbed, throwing her arms around Nia. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, they just grabbed me from the boutique. Sure, it's okay. You're safe now. Nia held her, but her eyes were on Min-jae. He stood frozen, gun lowering, the adrenaline clearly crashing. Then he crossed to them and pulled both women into his arms, his hands shaking. It's over, he said, voice rough. It's over. The aftermath took 3 days. Min-jae's people cleaned up the warehouse, dealt with authorities, money, Nia learned, could make Lagos police very accommodating, and swept Lagos for any remaining threats. There were none. Choi's network collapsed without him, his funding sources disappearing like smoke. On the 4th day, Min-jae took Nia to Abuja to see her parents. The meeting was tense. Her father looked like he wanted to punch Min-jae. Her mother alternated between weeping and lecturing. Nia's younger siblings watched like it was a Nollywood film. Mr. and Mrs. Okonkwo, Min-jae began, standing in their Abuja safe house looking uncomfortable in a way Nia had never seen. I owe you an apology. The way I took Nia, crashing your daughter's wedding, was wrong. Dramatic. Disrespectful to your family and your culture. Disrespectful. Nia's father exploded. You pointed a gun at my daughter's groom, in front of 300 people. In my defense, the groom was selling her to pay gambling debts. That's not the point. Daddy, please, Nia started. But Min-jae held up a hand. Mr. Okonkwo, you're right. I could have handled it differently. Told you privately, let you cancel the wedding, been respectful. He took a breath. But I'm not going to lie to you. Even knowing what I know now, I'd do it again. Because that man didn't deserve her, and I wasn't going to let her settle for less than she's worth. The room went silent. Nia's mother blinked rapidly. You love her, her mother said slowly. More than my empire. More than Seoul. More than my own life. Min-jae looked at Nia, and his expression was absolutely open. She's everything. Nia's father studied him for a long moment. Then, what are your intentions toward my daughter? To marry her. Properly. With your blessing. Min-jae reached into his jacket and pulled out a small box, making Nia's heart stop. I know I did this backward, took her first, asking permission later. But I'm asking now. May I have your daughter's hand in marriage? He wasn't even looking at her parents. His eyes were on Nia, vulnerable and hopeful and absolutely certain. Nia's mother burst into tears. Her father's expression softened. You'll convert, her father asked. Min-jae blinked. I can. I'm joking. Her father's smile was grudging. Mostly. But you'll respect our traditions? Include our culture in the wedding. I'll do whatever makes Nia happy, Min-jae said simply. Nia's father looked at her. Nia, is this what you want? This dramatic Korean man who crashes weddings and starts gunfights? Nia laughed through sudden tears. Yeah, Daddy. This is what I want. Then, her father sighed, suddenly looking old and tired. Then you have my blessing. But, he pointed at Min-jae. Traditional wedding in Lagos. With all our family. And I'm not negotiating. Min-jae's smile was blinding. Deal. He crossed to Nia, dropped to one knee right there in her parents' temporary living room, and opened the box. Inside was a ring, diamond and emerald, the colors of Nigeria's flag. Nia Okonkwo, he said in Korean, then English, will you marry me? Properly, this time, with both our families, in both our worlds. Yes, Nia breathed. Yes, you impossible, dramatic, perfect man. Yes. He slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her while her family cheered and her mother cried and her younger sister filmed everything for Instagram. But there was still one more surprise waiting. 6 months later, Nia stood in the same Oriental hotel ballroom where Min-jae had crashed her first wedding and tried not to laugh at the beautiful irony. This time, She wore traditional iro and buba in deep purple and gold, her geli tied by her mother's skilled hands. Min-jae wore agbada in matching colors, looking completely out of his element and absolutely handsome. "I can't believe your family convinced me into this," he muttered, adjusting the heavy fabric. "You look good." Nia straightened his collar. "Very Nigerian. I look like I'm wearing curtains. Expensive curtains." The ceremony was everything the first one wasn't. Full of joy, laughter, real love. Nia's father walked her down the aisle, looking proud instead of uncertain. Min-jae's small Korean family had flown in. Cousins and an aunt who cried through the entire thing. Ji-woo served as one of Nia's bridesmaids, looking uncomfortable in Ankara and loving it. When the pastor asked if anyone objected, everyone laughed. Min-jae had made sure of that 6 months ago. "I now pronounce you husband and wife," the pastor declared. "You may kiss." Min-jae was already kissing her, and the ballroom erupted in cheers. The reception was fusion chaos, jollof rice and kimchi, pounded yam and bulgogi, Afrobeats and K-pop mixing in beautiful confusion. Min-jae's people mixed with Nia's, Korean and Yoruba flying across conversations, cultures blending like ingredients in a perfect stew. "Happy?" Min-jae asked during their first dance, holding her close. Deliriously. Nia looked around at the celebration, her mother dancing with Min-jae's aunt, Ji-woo teaching Nia's siblings Korean curses, her father deep in conversation with Min-jae's business partners. "We did this. Made something beautiful from chaos. That's our specialty." Min-jae kissed her forehead. Chaos and beauty. Later, as they cut the cake, 3 tiers decorated with Korean and Nigerian patterns, Nia's assistant Chinyer tapped her glass. "Speech," someone shouted. Nia laughed, grabbing the microphone. "I'm not good at speeches, but," she looked at Min-jae. "6 months ago, this man crashed my wedding. In front of everyone. It was dramatic, insane, and completely inappropriate." The crowd laughed. "It was also," Nia continued, her voice softening, "the best thing that ever happened to me. Because he saw me, really saw me, when I was settling for less. He crossed continents, faced my angry family, and fought through literal gunfire to prove we could build something real." She turned to face him fully. "Min-jae, you taught me that love isn't safe or convenient. It's choosing someone every day, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. And I choose you. Every day. Forever." Min-jae's eyes were suspiciously bright. He pulled her close and kissed her while 300 guests cheered and phones recorded this moment. The right moment, the real moment. Later, as they prepared to leave for their honeymoon, Seoul and Lagos, splitting time between worlds, Nia's mother pulled her aside. "You know," her mother said, dabbing her eyes, "when that Korean man crashed your first wedding, I thought it was the end of the world. And now I think," her mother smiled, "I think maybe some love stories need a little chaos to become extraordinary." Nia hugged her tight. "Thanks, Mama." As they drove away, soul-bound first, Nia leaned against Min-jae's shoulder and smiled. "No regrets?" he asked. "Not one." She held up her hand, admiring the ring he'd given her twice now. "Though, maybe for our vow renewal, you could try not kidnapping me." Min-jae laughed. "No promises, Jae-jae. I'm still a little dramatic." "A little." "Okay, very dramatic. But you love me anyway." "I really do." Nia kissed him. "Forever." The car merged into Lagos traffic, heading toward the airport, toward Seoul, toward a future built from 2 worlds crashing together in the most beautiful chaos. 3 months later, Nia would discover she was pregnant, and Min-jae would cry for the first time since his mother died, holding her and whispering promises in Korean about the life they'd built from ashes and audacity. But their enemies weren't all gone. And in the shadows of Seoul, someone new was watching, waiting, plotting revenge for Choi's death. To be continued. If this story had you hooked, smash that like button, subscribe for more Afro-Korean heat, and comment your favorite moment below. Was it the wedding crash? The warehouse rescue? The traditional ceremony? Let me know. Part 2 coming if you want it. Drop a comment if you need to see Nia and Min-jae face new enemies while juggling a baby and 2 empires. This is just the beginning of their story.